Hi, everyone. So, for those of you who don't know, College Bound is an organization that seeks to end gang violence through education and networks. And for those of you who don't know me, I grew up in rural Vermont where gang violence simply didn't exist. Not only did gang violence not exist, but the subject was never breached. Prior to my junior year at UVM, when I started to take more in depth courses like sociology of crime or mass incarceration, the only knowledge that I had of gangs and gang violence was what was portrayed in the media and in Hollywood. And to make matters worse, where I'm from, there's typically only one way of thinking about these kinds of controversial issues. And unfortunately, it is not with compassion or understanding. Semester in the city gave me that guidance that I needed to be able to think about steps that I could take, things that I could do to help make some kind of difference. It also encouraged me to continue to check my own privilege and use it to speak for those individuals who may have had their voice taken away or those who were never given one to begin with. But the end goal isn't to speak for them, but to do whatever we can and make whatever changes we need to in order for them to speak for themselves. Their voices and their stories are strong. I've heard them. When I entered this experience as a white farm girl from Vermont, of course, I had no idea what to expect. I remember standing in my kitchen, bursting with excitement to tell my family about my fellowship placement. I was met with some blank stares and a hesitant, oh, that's nice. And the weeks to come leading up to my move to Boston, I was asked questions like, are you worried about working with gang members? Or how do you know your walk from the train to work will be safe? But I persevered through all of the concern because at the end of the day, I knew my family was just worried about me going off on my own. Upon meeting my colleagues at College Bound, I was able to focus on who people are and not what people do. I became close with people from different backgrounds with different experiences, whether it be at work or among my CFSI fellows. This taught me to strip myself of all preconceived notions and get to know people's stories. And by stories, I don't mean what good or bad things have you done that have led you to where you are, but instead, who are you now? How have you grown? And what can you and I do together to make a difference? It also taught me how to make a mean spreadsheet, but that's beside the point. I was able to call back home many times a week and tell my family about the amazing people I met or the experiences that I had, projects that I had spent weeks working on that finally came to fruition. During my special project, a presentation that College Bound hosted for CFSI, Kenny, one of our college readiness advisors, said, "One hand washes the other, but they both wash the face." This jumped out to the entire audience and really reinforced the idea that working together is the best way to make social change. So if we can find ways to connect with each other and use those partnerships moving forward, we can make a difference. I hope you all feel inspired to get to know someone who maybe you never would have interacted with while going about your normal routine. Ask this person about their goals and aspirations, lessons they've learned, the best advice they've ever gotten, or even what they put on their favorite sandwich. Maybe you learned something because I know that I did.